Welcome back. If you just tuned in, tonight we're talking about, the shift we have in our education sector and the scraping of mother tongue teaching in primary schools. And we want to find out what this scraping means for Nigeria's future. Remember, you can be a part of this conversation. You can send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 0818-038-4663. Also, our phone lines are open. You can call in 070-2500-7749 and also on 0701-4242-420. Let's hear your thoughts. Now, you see, the 2022 National Language Policy was introduced to improve literacy and promote national unity by teaching, pupils first languages during early primary years. Now, it was rooted in the belief that children learn best in languages they understood. However, poor implementation, inadequate teacher training, and lack of materials in many indigenous languages made it difficult to sustain. The new administration argues that reverting to English as the main instructional language will improve learning outcomes, but critics insist that this change deepens colonial dependency, weakens national identity, and contradicts global best practices. Now, joining me to unpack this latest issue, I have Moji Dalabi, Team Lead, Editor-in-Chief of Dev Reporting and Chairman Education Writers Association of Nigeria. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining us on the show tonight.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Great. So let's quickly dive into it. The government says implementation challenges, of course, made the 2022 National Language Policy unworkable. From your professional standpoint, do you agree, or was this simply, a lack of political will?
Yeah, thank you very much. I am not too sure that this was a well thought out policy.
Okay.
This is coming at a time when cultural identity has become something very fundamental for our education system. This is coming at a time when we are trying to dissociate ourselves from every form of imperialism. This is coming at a time when we understand that the kind of the economy we are going to run now is going to be knowledge-based economy. And there won't be better knowledge-based economy without improving our language as a means of communication, means of instruction. It is unfortunate that a government, especially at a time when you go online now, you see a lot of young Nigerians who are using language of immediate environment, Nigerian languages to teach foreign subjects, and students in different places are enjoying them. So why is it now that a government is going to come up to insist that English remains and should be the only language of instruction in schools? It is, I think maybe the minister did not get the history of what the late Professor Babs Fafunwa did around 1979 in Ile-Ife, when they were able to separate two classes, some from primary 3 to primary 5, and some from primary 3 to primary 5, and they separated them, taught some in Yoruba language and taught others in pure English language. And what they saw at the end of about 3 years of that research was that those who were taught in Yoruba language performed extremely well over and above those who were taught with purely English language. Maybe the minister failed to consult very widely, because I did not know that this kind of decision will be taking place and critical stakeholders were not carried along. It is not a decision that will only be taken in Akure, where they had Council of State on Education, where politicians only gathered. These are just politicians. It should be a process for critical stakeholders to review before such a policy will be declared. So I feel so sad today that at a time when some of us are pushing that our language should be supported and should be encouraged. And even when foreigners are coming here to learn this same language, when somebody studied studied computer science, and is teaching Yoruba language and teaching people across the world. And I'm talking of Lekan Fabilola, the Maso Yibo guy. And you could see the kind of the promotion when people are relocating to Nigeria to learn about our language, whether it is Igbo, Hausa, Efik, or whatever. But now we are having this kind of policy. But I think it is not the end of the whole thing. That pronouncement is being reviewed by stakeholders, and we are part of the stakeholders reviewing this, and our positions will be made known very soon.
Right. I think I share your sentiment because, this is a critical time where parents are even trying to get their children to learn their first language. I mean, we can't borrow everything and even borrow languages, right? And now, like you rightly cited with some examples, research have shown that children learn faster in their first language. Now, how might this reversal affect literacy and learning outcomes in these children?
Yeah, you can see very clearly, apart from affecting, it will even affecting the thoughts of Nigerians. We have seen instances, it's because of that realization that some states, including Lagos, insisted that just a particular day that assembly should be conducted in schools using Yoruba language. It is the same thing for the State House of Assembly using the mother tongue to actually conduct businesses of the assembly. But unfortunately, I don't know how we came to this level. So many people have actually reached out to me asking the authenticity of that claim, and I was shocked to even see the post by the ministry confirming this development on their X handle. And I have tried to also reach out, and I'm sure that on 27th of this month, we are also going to host the minister at our annual summit of Education Writers Association of Nigeria. These are some of the issues we want to bring up, because I have not seen, this is going to really, really affect, going to your question, this is going to seriously, significantly affect the performance of students, and they should check it. When China wanted Western education, pure European education, what did he do? They had to go and adapt this thing into Mandarin, into their Chinese language. And what has been the result? The result has been this massive change in technology in China. The same thing happened in India. We cannot continue to be taking everything from Europe and American, every hook, line, and sinker. It has never helped us. It's never helped us. It is not helping us, and it will never help us. I've always tried to raise this fundamental thing that our leaders only believe that when they sleep and they wake up, and an idea that they dreamt of, because of so much power that they think they wield, and because they look at the docility of the citizens, they just discover that once they decide, once they think of something, that thing must come to be. And because nobody questions their authorities. And I think we should get out of that level to be able to at least raise this fundamental issue that this should not stand. It is going to affect our learning. It's going to affect the teaching. It's going to affect retention. It's going to affect so many things, because a whole lot in the interior, in the rural areas, once they leave school, they do not even understand. Nobody speaks English to them. Nobody teaches them in English. Everything is interpreted into their mother tongue.
Yeah.
So how do they cope? So when you are preparing them, language is even spoken better, especially English, only when you understand your own language of immediate environment very clearly. And that's why you will listen to the likes of Shoyinka. They speak fluently in English and speak very fluently in Yoruba language.
Right.
Go and check Achebe, the late Achebe. It is the same thing, because these people understand their environment. They can be able to talk of what the name of everything that they see in their environment is called in English, because they are able to compare, they are able to speak the two languages very clearly. But this idea of changing the language of instruction in school only to foreign language will not only destroy our teaching system, it will also destroy the student learning capability and ability.
Right. I mean, this brings me to my next question because, I mean, from research, countries like African countries like Ethiopia, Tanzania, they've been able to integrate the bilingual system into their learning process, and of course, with success. So now, you mentioned Wole Soyinka being able to, I mean, he's fluent in English and in his mother tongue. Is it possible for Nigeria to have adapted, that bilingual system instead of total cancellation? That is, teaching in both English and in their the child's mother tongue.
Yeah, I think that has been what we have been preaching.
Okay.
I could recollect I was in Tanzania, I was in Kenya in 2023, and I realized that most of my friends, even those from Zanzibar, most of the way they speak, in fact, it is difficult for them to even speak in English language.
Mm-hmm.
They prefer that their mother tongue because when they have to teach you, that's where you hear things like Karibu. So they have been able to imbibe this culture. It allows them to think very fast. It allows them to think very deeply, and it brings their cultural value into them. It brings their understanding of their environment to them. And I realized that this is the same thing. When you see somebody who I was in Igbo land, and I could recollect that sometimes it is easier for those that we call Onyekuzi in Igbo land, especially if you are from Ungwa. You are going to listen to some of these languages that they speak, and you understand that it speaks directly to what operates in the environment, to the things that you see in the environment. There are so many things within our system that is not, that cannot be represented by English. There are many of them. And that is why when you check dictionary today, you are going to see agogo in the dictionary. Agogo was not just adopted into the dictionary just because it was adopted. It was adopted into dictionary because that is the language that we speak. If you look at it, Eba, there is nothing like when you say Gary, Eba is Eba. When you say Gary, Gary is Gary. There is no other name for Gary. It is our language. So when you are now saying people should be, so how do you, when you say bean cake, there is nothing like bean cake. Bean cake does not represent akara. So these are things that the minister would need to really understand, that there are things that are known with our culture, known with our people, known with our lifestyle, and these things remain here. And you cannot say because we are relating globally. English is not the only language of communication globally. People use Arabic, people use French, people use Mandarin. So why must you now inherit the same individuals that have been busy all along within since 1914 to impose their lifestyle on us? We can't continue to be looking at this, and this is even coming at a time when people are coming to us to learn about our language. If you go to Benin Republic, you see a lot of people who are speaking Nigerian language. You go to Brazil, I've been to Brazil and I've seen you. When you go to Sierra Leone, you are going to see the same set of people. You go to Liberia, you have all these kind of, so many things connect us together. But you are going to easily lose all these things when you begin to take your children away from learning these languages.
I mean, I like that you mentioned, because I personally think that I'm of the opinion that the reason they're doing this is, to ensure that Nigeria is able to maintain competitiveness on the global stage. But in the bid to do that, we're gradually, I'm afraid, losing identity, right? How can Nigeria preserve its linguistic heritage without compromising that global competitiveness in education?
Yeah, thank you very much. I was on a program about 2-3 days ago, and we had the likes of Professor Ebokare, a linguistic expert from University of Ibadan. We had the likes of, so many people have actually been saying this, and they've been saying it very clearly, that there are things that we need to actually, to preserve ourselves as a people, to preserve any leader who is going to actually govern this place, who is going to be taking positions of authority, not to understand how imperialism actually starts. not to understand how language is the first language is the first sense of development that we are going to have. That is the medium of communication. That is the channel that we use. Without language, nothing happens. So if you cannot understand that by letting your people understand that their language is valued among themselves, then you are killing that particular system. So we have been, if somebody tells you that we have not been competing, or we have not been relating, or we have not been interacting, when this policy was in place, all Nigerians who are going abroad and are excelling, did they use only English language as their language of communication, as language of instruction in their schools? No. You go to any part of the world today, Nigerians excel. Go and check those people who are having master's degree, PhD all over abroad. Why do they excel when they go abroad? They even do far better, because the system, it is because this is what I call misplaced priority on the part of the government.
Right.
The government is now trying to major in minor, and they are now trying to minor in major.
Right.
The key things that should be addressed is not being addressed. This is the same way the minister came up and said all SSC exams will have to begin, all SSC exams will have to be conducted using CBT beginning from next year. That is not the next thing to do. The minister needs people who are actually competent, who are thinkers, not people who are rash thinkers. This is a rash decision. You need people who can be able to tell you consequences of certain decisions. You don't have infrastructure, you are imposing ICT, CBT-based exams on people, on the examination bodies. Go and ask. We had interaction with NECO. NECO knows that it is not possible. How many places do you have internet facilities? What is the level of internet facility penetration in Nigeria? What is the rate of power source in Nigeria? How many schools have power connected, who are connected to the grid? Or how many schools are connected to solar system? They are not there. So why will you impose this kind of a thing? So, and this is the kind of the rash decisions that we take, and it will take us many years to reverse some of these decisions. And that is why all of us must be able to come out openly to address this very clearly. We must make a stance, our position known. This is not the first time that we are going to see this is not the first time that you are going to see decisions at the top being changed. We have had it before when the minister said the age of admission should be 18. Another minister came and said no, it should go for 16. So we are not strange to their rash decisions. We are not strange to their what I call decisions by their impulse. This is why it is important for all of us to be able to actually take a decision together, join the campaign against this kind of rash decisions. We want people who are intellectually sound, people who can consult widely, people who have lived among us and understand the sector. And I'm not surprised. Dr. Tunji Alawusa is a medical doctor. Dr. Tunji Alawusa, after his graduation at the University of Lagos, left the shore of Nigeria. He moved abroad. So he has been practicing medicine in the US. I'm not expecting Dr. Alawusa to be able to operate here freely without importing, without the American culture being imbibed by him. I think we need to understand that certain key areas are very important. Education, health, and environment. There are key sectors that we cannot afford to put in the hand of people who do not have the professional experience, the professional expertise to be able to run.
All right, I'm going to come to the area of infrastructure, but first of all, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Please stay with us.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we will bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the shift we're seeing in our education sector and, the scrapping of mother tongue usage as a form of instruction in primary schools. And we're analyzing these things to find out what it really, really means, for Nigerians as a whole, especially. Anyway, I have my guest still on standby. Sir, let me come to, because I know you spoke about infrastructure, right? And I really like that you went there because, these people, like you rightly said, are making this decision rashly. Because I don't know how we've been able to consider those in the rural areas, right? How many teachers there have what it takes to teach these children, in English? How many of them have the books, And like you rightly pointed out, after the classroom, let's even say that we have enough manpower in the rural areas to teach in English. After the classroom, when they step out, nobody talks to them in English. How is this, how is this going to help those in the rural area now? Are you there, sir?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. Like we have said before, we are not boasting. I've reported education in Nigeria for about 15 years.
Okay.
And I'm not just the chairman of the Education Writers Association of Nigeria based on the number of years of covering education, but because we have actually been part and parcel of certain decisions taken in the past relate with the recipient of the policies. And I'm going to give just one example of this. When our former governor Rauf Aregbesola introduced what he called tablet of knowledge, or Koimo, in Osun State in 2000 and around 2014 or thereabout. Some of us who actually saw it as a misplaced priority at the time, we raised it that this was not going to actually achieve what we wanted to achieve. You cannot be using tablets in an environment where children had no chairs to sit down. You cannot be using tablets in an environment where solar power is not available.
Right.
You cannot be using tablets in an environment where skills required to even operate this tablet is not there. And where they have the skills that Nigerian children had was how to manipulate these facilities to be able to do what they wanted to do. And we told them, the then deputy governor of the state, that Princess Alawe Tomori, we told her then that it is going to be like an abuse. Why don't we fix infrastructure first? Why don't we allow students to identify and see their schools and be happy that they are going to school? Let them continue to be using their chalkboard, but let the environment be so clean, let the environment be so fine, let there be fans in their classrooms, and some of them are going to really, really show interest in coming to school. But what is the essence of TAB? That it will not become a kind of a distraction. But what was the result at the end of the day? Did they add to enrollment? Did they improve the performance? No. And today, you don't have those facilities already there. People who have not been able to use desktop facilities are not the ones that are going to use PAMTOP. So these are the challenges that our people usually have when they get to power, because they just think that a policy is important and they just want to impose it on the people, forgetting the fact that there is something that we call that there is a need for us to actually look at our environment, people. And that is why, like I say, when you talk about infrastructure, the infrastructure crisis that we have, it's something that is so big. It's so big that even if the government is resolving, addressing the infrastructure crisis from now to the end of the 4-year term of a president, they cannot finish it. So why don't you concentrate on that? Many teachers don't have seats. Teachers are not enough. We have over 200,000, more than 200,000 teacher shortage in Nigeria. You are not addressing that. You are addressing how they communicate with their pupils. How? So this is a challenge that our people do not realize, that until we are able to think deeply and we are able to think very well, to understand what very recently that speaks to internet penetration within the neighborhood, in the remote areas, and we realize that the percentage of people who lack access to internet, about 82 million Nigerians don't have correct access to internet in Nigeria. In fact, 40-something million do not even have access to internet at all. That is based on the research conducted. So why does the government fail? And that is what you don't find in other places. Before certain decisions are taken, there are researches conducted.
Right.
There are things that are done, but unfortunately in this part of Nigeria, we only take a decision, and once the decision is taken, we believe it becomes a law. And I think this is not correct in this kind of situation.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to this angle. Now, of course, we know in Nigeria we have 3 major languages. There's Igbo, there's Yoruba, there's Hausa, right? But we also have minority languages, which are a lot. You know, there are really a lot. So do you think abandoning this mother tongue instruction, do you think it's going to accelerate the extinction of these minority languages?
Going to affect them. You have over 250 ethnic communities, ethnic in Nigeria, and this is a challenge that many of these ethnic societies, they have their own distinct languages. In fact, somebody will tell you that they are not dialects. They have their distinct languages. You have Ibibio, you have Urobo, you have Efik, you have so a whole lot. So you cannot say, when you now even say the three major languages we have chosen, that those 3 major languages should not even be should be anyway. They said one of those immediate language of immediate environment will now be taught in school, but not used as a medium, as a language of instruction. What do we mean by that? So it is important for us to understand that if we lose our language, our identity is gone. What makes us to stand out as African, what makes us to stand out as a unique set of people is our language. It's based on the language that we speak. It's based on the way we dress. It's based on the way what we eat. So this food that we eat, they are called the food in our languages because they are our languages, they are peculiar to us. So the peculiarity is what our leaders must be able to understand. A minister cannot just take a decision that is as important to the lives, to the future of the people without consulting very widely. Even if you have such an idea, beyond the Council of Education that is populated by politicians, by commissioners of education, these are people who cannot, because they are not, many of them are not experts. They have professors of language. You have people who have conducted researches. Have you consulted this research works? Is this something that you just come up and just decide in that kind of manner? So we are going to lose those languages, whether it is Ibibio, whether it is Efik, whether it is Kanuri, whether it is Fulani, whether it's all those ones are definitely going to go. And that is a major challenge. Why are the Arabians speaking Arabic? They are speaking Arabic because that is the language of their immediate environment. Why do you have Chinese speaking Mandarin? Why are we teaching Russian language in Nigeria? Why are we teaching French in Nigeria? So these are things that why are people learning German language in Nigeria? So are you saying these are countries that are also in Europe? They are developing their languages. What stops us as a people to now say that our language, it's as if we are imposing this imperialism. We are deliberately bringing back this imperialism culture. And I don't know whether that is the only thing that will stop Donald Trump from going ahead with his threat. Because I don't know why we would decide to be pandering to English speakers just because we want to do certain things. It's quite unfortunate.
Right.
It's very, very unfortunate.
All right, Mr. Labi. I mean, what you said about Donald Trump, I don't think that was the plan. Anyway, what reforms, or strategies would you propose to reintroduce these indigenous languages in the early education without actually overwhelming the system? What reforms would you, propose?
Yeah, I think what we have always been doing is